Okay, what's going on, you guys? This is your boy, the Chocolate Bay, and we have a special guest today. I'm here with my boy, Sedrick. Sedrick,
Hi,
you want to introduce yourself to the people, my
uh,
people?
hi. How are you? I'm Sedrick Jamal. Um, Pretty much, yes.
Okay, thank you. And what was so important for me to do this interview, you guys, because we're all part of the rainbow, LGBTQI type of rainbow. But with this community, I feel like the focus is always on trans women, even though they're always a part of our community as well. But I feel like trans males are left out of the perspective. So I want to thank Ted so much for being on here, the platform, just giving us some insight about his perspective and the trans male's perspective as well. So
Yes.
Cedric, when did you know that you were different or you wanted to turn different?
I want to say about 13 years
Oh
old.
wow.
I mean, I was already experiencing at the time being trying to be feminine as possible before noticing my masculinity was uplifting me mentally. So
Hmm.
I was very masculinity as growing up as a girl at the time, and I didn't really get into the habit of being so feminine. Like everybody was noticing, like, how are you dating dudes at the time?
Hmm.
And pretty much it's not working. A lot of dudes was turned off back then. It's like, yo, because I want to, like, they want a girl, and they want a girl who's feminine, who rocks bundles, hair done, nails done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like me, I was rocking side ponytails and still coming off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was me back then. I ain't gonna hold you, but that was me. And dudes were so turned off. They wanted my sister because I'm actually a twin. So they wanted my
Oh
sister.
wow, yeah.
The dudes that would talk to me
Hmm.
want my sister more because she was extremely feminine.
Hmm.
That was the thing that was turning on dudes. Like she's pretty as hell. She got an ass on her, everything. You know what I'm saying? So excuse my French, but I mean
No,
that's.
you could curse, you could curse.
I mean, it was just like that when it came to the dudes back then. So I noticed something. Like I've dated a dude or whatever, but girls were starting to catch my eye.
Hmm.
I noticed that my sexuality was changing as I was growing as well. I mean, I've cheated on a man with a girl
Yeah,
at the age of
yeah.
12, and I noticed that okay, that I knew that was bisexuality. So I knew I was
Hmm.
bisexual, but I just couldn't keep up with me being bisexual because I've always perspective myself as a male in the
Hmm.
relationships that I've gone through. And I just noticed right then and there, like, you know what? At 13, I was in the eighth grade. I just knew that I wanted to start living my life as a masculine female. But then, people were starting to call me sir, man, sir.
Hmm.
And I just knew it off the back, like, this female, that I don't even feel like a female. And
Yeah,
mentally, I wasn't feeling like a female ever since I was 7.
yeah.
So I already knew that I was going by him, he, him, his. So I just gave myself that confirm, like, all right, let's just. I just feel like a whole male, and to me, I just was going by pronouns, and I went through so many names, so I was going by so different names before I chosen the name Sedrick. So
Hmm. That's cool, and I think that's important too because people that's not part of the community, they're like, "Well, how do you know so young?" Look, I'm a gay male. I know if like my feelings, what I'm feeling, if I'm attracted to girls or boys. Like I knew, like you said, when I was younger, maybe 6, 7, 5, around that age, that I wasn't like the other guys. I was attracted to guys. I didn't like, I was attracted to the same gender. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, well, how do you, because you know your body, you know who you are. And a lot of people that have been through this process, well, not the process, but just part of the rainbow, you know exactly how you're feeling and what you relate to
absolutely,
your
no, I
sexuality.
agree. Yeah, no, because it's like that with myself. Um, we get target a lot. Um,
Mhm.
Not just myself, but I mean, I'm open about talking about my transition. So, you know, so many times that a lot of dudes that I bump heads with our trans experience, they tell me to be careful what I say. But I'm not going to sit here and hide from nobody, because at the end of the day,
Mhm.
my life, it took me a long time to be who I am today. And I've been through so much difficulties. So I really understand. Like, when I was 13, I mean, I didn't really know so much about transitioning. I just
Mhm.
know that I mentally chose to feel this way. I knew what I felt. Like, I felt like
Mhm.
for the time my masculinity was just too extreme. It was taking over my mental. And I like seeing, I've been around nothing but men. So it was like, you know what? Just because he's a man, I'm not just gonna be a man because he's a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it because this is how I feel deep inside. I never
Exactly.
I never really had a thing for female stuff, female wear wardrobes and everything. I just, you know, even the stand, I can't even stand the fact that I still get menstrual cycles here and there. So it's just bad
Yeah.
enough. I mean, I don't like nothing woman.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm attracted to,
Me,
you
me
know.
neither. We're not sexually. So, I get what you're saying. But
Um,
I think like people that's not part of the community, I'm just like you know who you are, you know your body, and like you, I try to hide it. I play sports, I play football,
right,
like because we're taught that if you're that gender, you have to sort of exhort to. If you're a girl, try to be feminine. You have to wear pink. If you're a
right.
guy, you have to be rough. You have to be masculine. So I understand that part as well. And how did your family and friends take it when they found out about you like transitioning in
I
your
like
whole
I like this
story?
question. I really do, because this is like the second question I get from everybody in the generation. When people bump heads with me, or dudes or women that try to talk to me, they ask me that same type of question. So it's kind of great that you asked me that. I want to start off by family. I think I told my sister, because I was like, because that's the only person who really supports me in my family. I don't
Mhm.
really have my mother and father support. They just give me a shelter, which is me sleeping in my bed and showering and eating, and
Mhm.
that's why I could take a shit at. So, um,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm kind of thankful for them even letting me stay in the household. Can't really force anyone to make them call me he, him, his, and Sedrick. That's
Mhm.
just something that I've give family time on. Um, when I wanted to, I remember I mentioned it to my mom. She was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I'm not with this gay shit at all." Well, I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't mention it to her again." Um, So I told my sister, I said, I'm gonna do this. I mean, I want to take my life. I feel like a man mentally. I don't feel like a man. Like, I feel like a man mentally, and
Mhm.
I want to out. I want to make sure. You know, I did a lot of researching before actually doing. You know, that actually confirming. I did a lot of researching, and I took my time, and I'm still taking my time with this transition, because I also noticed that my mental health was screwed up. You know, I didn't really get the best um, mental support system in the household. I've been around a lot, so um, and I told my sister, I was like, I'm just ready to do something, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm just ready. Like, I think I should take the feeling of a man to the next level,
Yeah.
and that was transitioning physically. Now, transitioning physically, it was like kind of scary to the family, because when I told my sister, she was like, I mean, I had to actually watch other trans men
Mhm.
and how their process was. I mean, everybody's bodies is different. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
see how others, you know, would experience being on the HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. And I
Mhm.
wanted to just see how it reflect and affects them before I actually try it.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen some videos how people had to get off of it. It was messing with their kidney and livers. It was experiencing blood clots, and I was scared. So
Mhm.
I'm, everybody goes on Google for symptoms and seeing if it's really true. We all get scared from the
Well,
symptoms.
it be my doctor be like, look, don't come here with none of that shit. Don't bring me none. Don't bring me none.
So unfortunately, like, you know, when I told my sister was like, whatever makes you happy, just do what makes you happy. I'm here
Mhm.
for you at the end of the day. I mean, mommy ain't gonna be too happy with it, but at the end of the day, it's your choice.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, even when I try to educate my mom with this shit today, it's like definitely is angry. It's just something that she will never get used to, and she made it clear. I'm not calling you by that name, and I'm not calling you by them pronouns. And
Mhm.
I mean, there's so that right there explains it. So my mom and pops don't really. My dad is like, I just want you to do good. I just want you to get a
Yeah.
job. I want you to go out there. But the one thing that he is afraid as well is somebody trying me.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody trying me. So I'm like, listen, that's why he wants me to go through the force and everything. But all this Trump banding trans people, I'm just kind of, I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, when I did like start the HRT and like start the process on getting, because you do need a letter to actually see a physician, because they want you to make sure that your mental is on track. They mean,
Mhm.
when you're taking this hormones, everything is changing inside first
Yeah.
before outside. And a lot of dudes that hit me up talking about, oh, bro, I want to get like you. I want your facial hair. I want this, that, and the third. You're only doing it for physical appearance, and it's sad. And it's a lot of them. It's a lot of the brothers out here who are doing it because they see others doing it, and that's not the right reason to do it. Me
Yep.
personally, I did it for a real reason. Some others did it because everybody's story to the reason why they took HRT is different. I'm just talking about minds and what I'm seeing around my surroundings in this community. So I remember taking the time to actually see a clinical director that was at an organization that I started off with, or
Mhm.
put on by a trans group that used to be called Transview at Hudson Pride Connection Centers in Jersey
Mhm.
City, New Jersey. They helped me with my transition, and I recommend them to people. Um, they helped me with it. I seen a person, a licensed social worker, and from there I did the clinical therapy sessions with him, and he recommended me to a doctor, which is very, very well experienced. I mean,
Mhm.
that's more than a doctor. Let's just put it like that. I have a best friend
Yeah.
relationship with that doctor. I mean, we talk about so much stuff, more than just health reasons, but he does explain about any abnormal symptoms. And I remember going to him for the very first time to explain I want to be on HRT. And I showed him the letter.
Mhm.
And knowing that identifying as a male for 9 years is definitely a tough decision for family, but family is not going to take it as it as they're not going to take it like this. They're going to it's going to have to flow natural. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
And and I tell people this all the time. You cannot force somebody to say he, him, his within a day. And they have to adjust to it. They have
Yeah.
to be surrounded by it for at least so many times of being around you. Not just this, because I mean, like people that knew you for so long, like family and long-term friends that you knew in high school, and now they know that you're transitioning, and you expect for them to say he, him, his, or she, her, or they, them.
That's an adjustment. You
Yes,
know.
it's anything, even with a promotion at a job. You're not just gonna get a promotion like this.
Exactly.
So it really affected the family when I started taking the hormones. Like my mom was saying, they're brainwashing you. You're, and she just is not really sure with it. Like you can tell her so much shit, but it won't go through her ear. Like she will never understand. She just thinks the shit is confusing. And my mother takes it very serious. Like she doesn't have any type of support in it. She's not
Mhm.
really for it. So I mean, and my doctor told me she just gonna have to get used to it. Did it
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. And that's just how it is when I came out. Well, I think my family knew because I didn't have a girlfriend or anything and stuff like that. But my mom, she didn't take it hard, but she was just like she used to bring up Sodom and Gomorrah, from the Bible when I was, growing up. And my dad was more cool, but I
Right.
think the hardest thing that people could do is look at, like I applaud you for this, look at themselves to sort of go through the change because society teaches us this isn't okay. Like something has to be wrong with you. I want to be lifestyle.
Right.
So I applaud you tremendously for that. Is it
I,
the echo? You good, Cedric?
yeah, I definitely hear you perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. But they teach us like we're not something that's wrong. I don't approve of this. I don't get it. And I applaud you for that. I know people that's in their 30s, 40s, and they don't feel comfortable with their sexuality.
Oh
But
yeah.
you knowing who you are, I commend you because you will be ostracized. People are being kicked out, disowned by family members, friends, everyone.
I get so
So
many stories. I hear it all the time.
out to you because that's one of the hardest things to be real and true to who you are. You know, you could
Yes,
always do what others want us to do, but sometimes it's very hard.
right. So I know I hear a lot of stories about it. I mean, there's times that there's times that I've tried to get housed in, but they always mention, have you ever heard the stories of these people, how they get kicked out and you have a home? That's crazy. I think you're on mute.
It's an echo, so I'm just trying to,
Okay. So yeah, we wanted to put a little bit of that.
yeah, I understand. The next question, how was the process when you started transitioning?
So the process, I had to wait until 18 because I really wanted to start at 16. But like I said, my mom wasn't really too sure about this whole process, and she's not really like supportive. She wasn't something. She wasn't. She was a no. She was about it. She wasn't really no. It was just wasn't for her, and it still ain't for her to this day. And I didn't want to ask her to sign because I mean, if you're gonna start at a young age, you do have to have a parent's consent. Um, so I had to wait until I was 18, and the whole process of what it eventually started from an organization, and I went to a trans group, and they told me a little bit about how the process was. So if you I've been identifying for so long as a male of trans experience, you would have to do therapy sessions. It could either, I believe at the time they were saying it takes about 18 months of therapy sessions. I remember the paper that they gave me. It was a 6 months to 18 months of the therapy. This usually goes to insurance companies because insurance companies are very strict when it comes to trans health. And it's just like something that I've been dealing with for a very long time. When you use insurance companies, they cut it out already. And it was free service. So this is an organization that gives out the free services to the LGBT youth. So I went to see a clinical director, social worker by the name of Dr. David Rosen, excuse me. And he does, therapy sessions. I don't want to say actual therapy sessions like relationship and sex and things like that. He'll refer you to somebody else who is professionalized in that. But he does do a little bit of some type of therapy session when it comes to the trans youth and things like that. Not too much sure about other things he does, but he did my letter. I mean, I actually explained to him, like, we had like 5-hour conversation about me and why I want to take this route on who I am today. And I mean, he spoke to my mom over the phone. I mean, of course, she cut him off a couple of times while he was trying to explain. So she really wasn't paying, like, it wasn't going through her. It wasn't, as a person, it just wasn't clicking with her. It's still today is not clicking with her, as very nonchalant. And so he pretty much wanted to give me my letter like 3 days after the first session, but unfortunately, the way how he was speaking, the way how he was speaking to my mother, he was very calm, very respectful, and my mom over the phone wasn't really too much for it. Like, she wasn't just trying to agree to everything he was saying, because she thinks this is a bunch of bullshit. So honestly, he just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give you a letter today because I know how much this means a lot to you. And I want you to be happy, and I want you to be this man that you are now. I want you to go farther with the process. I want you to live your truth. Whoever says anything messed up about you, you keep it going. You keep going strong and take those words and go stronger, go farther in life. So other than that, I made an appointment to see a doctor by the name of Dr. Michael McNett, which is located in Union City at Santanitas Medical Center. He's been experiencing transgender medicine for a very long time, but he's a family doctor. When I seen him, I gave him my letter. He pretty much was like, this is very important because He was actually the one that told me your mental changes. And he pretty much went to the details with the side effects. So I was like, I'm kind of skeptical with the side effects. I'm scared, and I've been a nervous person since I was a little child. So I'm literally shaking in my boots and shit. so I'm like, what are the actual side effects? Because I'm very scared. I'm looking on the internet, like there's blood clots, there's high blood pressure, there's liver function, dysfunction, and everything else, facial hair acne, blockage, artery clog, and everything. So he was like, no, stop going on Google because they're telling you a bunch of bullshit, and it scares a lot of people. Yes, it does. It scares a lot of people. Now, the thing between testosterone, it's not a blood clot risk. So that was a foof. Okay, so that was a relief. That was definitely a ton of bricks off. Um, he said that won't happen at all. Your liver and kidney does definitely not fail. There's no deaths ever heard from a person who is a woman taking testosterone and becoming a man. And knowing is that the only time you will hear about a death is if a cis man is taking testosterone and abusing the medication. It's the way how you take the medication. Now, this is a hormonal drug, but of course, some men that are cis take it for low testosterone. So then he just was like, you'll probably have some type of increased anxiety and it leads to depression. Now, that also plays a part of your mental health. And usually that takes several sessions with a therapist, which is major, which is phenomenal, very major. At the time, I didn't really care about my mental health. I just wanted to get this process over because it was a long process. It took me about 9 years or so. At the time, it was like 5 years to actually start this process. And he told me that anxiety does happen to certain people. And I was like, okay. He said facial hair, acne, muscle increase, bone density, and things like that, fat distribute, that all changes. Periods tend to stop, but unfortunately, it doesn't stop it doesn't stop to a lot of trans men. I'm one of them, so I still get my cycle. And the process of some people is just getting it like this. Some people is waiting. It's everybody's process on doing the physical transition is moving on, like moving to another, because I had to mentally prepare before actually doing the physical. And that was something that I had to actually put the research like energy in like crazy, because the majority of the dudes that are doing it now, they're doing it because they see others partial are only doing it for their own personal reasons.
And then they regret it. See that all the time.
There's a lot of detransition videos, and I've watched them. Now that I just realized, because there's these two guys. They do these what's it called? They do these Black Trans Men TV. If I'm saying it wrong, they talk about a lot. And I remember one of the brothers was talking about detransitioning. I want to make this short because I know I'm still answering your question. He said something about detransitioning. Now, my detransitioning definition, like not definition, but I do a detransitioning to me was stopping your whole process of who you becoming. But unfortunately, listening to another brother in the community, it's about a brother or not identifying as what they were, and now they're going to a whole different identity. So that could be another detransitioning. But I'm always going to look at this. You're stopping something because of one reason, either something like you're stopping to take the hormones for one particular reason, either medical health or it's just not for you no more. And I used to think negative. So I used to think that, okay, somebody's detransitioning, that was just a waste of time. And that's how some of the people in this community are looking at it today. I don't tend to judge. If you want to detransition, do your thing. Because at the end of the day, if you feel like something's going wrong with your body, hormones is really not needed. But people just take it because they want to do it because everybody else is doing it. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to say it like that. And one of the brothers was like talking about detransition. It was like I didn't know. I had to actually take notes from him because all this time I thought detransition it was to stop your transition because you regret what you did or something like that. I'm not too sure. I don't care either. But other than that, watching these detransition videos, they definitely that was once me at the time. I remember my first shot put me into it put me through a lot. My first shot put me in such a my body responded to it weird. But before all of that, I told my doctor, all right, I'm ready to do this. I was supposed to start in September of 2016. But unfortunately, my mom found out. I posted a prescription of the medication. And my sister was like, oh, he's starting it. So my mom went ballistic and she was like, oh, I can't believe she's fucking doing that. This, that, and the third. I can't believe this. And then she looked at me with a mean ass mug and was like, are you really gonna do this? Do you know what goes on? You're looking at side effects online. She really looked this up and was like, people are getting blood clots, people are getting night sweats, people are dying from this. And I'm just like, let me talk to my doctor. And he told me the internet is bullshit. And I hate the fact that your mom is believing the internet over someone who's been practicing and dealing with patients like yourself for a very long time. Well, I don't mind speaking to your mother. My mom refused to speak to the doctor. He's like, I actually was waiting for you to bring your mom too. But he wanted to educate her. He wanted to let her know. But no, she thinks everybody's brainwashed today. And that's just, oh God, child. But the process to me, it didn't really take as long. It wasn't the only difficulty I'm gonna only have in this process is the support system from my parents. That's about it. The only person I get the best support system from is my sister. And yeah, so I mean, I lost a lot of respect from friends after I did this shit because I mean, it wasn't, just trying to educate them and everything. It wasn't there. I lost a lot of respect, friends, just from living my truth. And at the end of the day, I don't chase nobody. I gotta go for it.
Exactly. And I don't think people like if people leave you, if you're just being real honest and authentic, then you were never my friend to begin with, you know?
Because at the end of the day, it's your happiness, not anybody else's. You don't do it for nobody. I mean, I've had friends told me that you're sick in the mind. I have people call me weird. I have people call me so many type of names, and I don't. At this point, I mean, I had so many physical fights because of who I am today. So I mean, at the end of the day, like, don't nobody understand what my transition means a lot to me. Like, I'm happy of who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very happy of who I am. I mean, this process of stepping foot outside, you're not gonna tell if I was man or female until I tell you.
Yeah.
That
But
is
do you feel like during the transition period you were like treated differently or possibly discriminated? Because they might see you partly maybe with certain features or female features, but then like a beard or something, you know?
well, I mean, before my transition, I never had facial hair, nothing like that. So of course, I had a feminine feature towards my face. And I mean, some people didn't know who, like, I would have strangers like sir or he or something like that. I really wasn't as passable as you think now. Back then, I was a chubby little fat girl with a brook. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. That was me back then. So I was getting called a dyke. I was getting called a bodega. I was getting called so many words like from people. Like, I was from even cis dudes. Like, you trying to be a man and shit. Like, they would try to test me. You know what I'm saying? Like, with them little, you trying to use your little interrogative words at me. Like, it ain't cutting it, bro. Like, that's what we don't do. You feel me? Well, I'm from Jersey City because back then in Jersey City, it wasn't really LGBT friendly like how it is now ever since the mayor of Phillip, I believe. Yeah, Mayor Phillip. Ever since then, we never had any type of great society when it came to the LGBTQ in Jersey City. So it was like going to school in Snyder High School and getting picked on by the dudes and everything. You know what I'm saying? The girls were the most, you know what I'm saying? Like, Come on, I have been told so many times from girls, just because you would dyke don't mean shit. I get my brother on you, all that. Like, it was always a target for women who were masculine, females, and it still is like that today. But now that ever since I transitioned and everything to who I am today, I get that respect. I get that respect for certain people, and these organizations today love how I show that strength, love how I show that pride out there, because I'm open by speaking about what I dealt with. Living this truth, it is a story. You don't even have to be a trans person. It could be a gay male or a lesbian, because we all go through the struggles. You know what I'm saying? It's the truth. I mean, I get that respect though. And some of these dudes out here was like, yo, I really salute you. You really an inspiration. I helped a lot of folks out. So of course, it's a difference before and it's a difference now. And I tend to just keep continuing doing what I'm doing.
And I'm proud of you because of that. And Cedric, do you feel like when we think of transgender, I always see a female. Do you feel like they overshadow the perception of a transgender male? Because since we always see female, we don't never see male like yourself.
Well, the female, let me just say this. The trans woman, I can't really speak too much about trans because I'm not a trans woman, but I could say because I've been around nothing but trans women. I've been nothing like that's literally I'm surrounded by nothing but trans women, like the guys who come off feminine, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's mostly the trans women that speak out more because they're the ones that go through the most struggles in this world. They're the ones that get clapped. They're the ones that get targeted at the most. We lost a lot of trans women in the past few years, so it's like you're not gonna ever see a trans man because we're too stealth, we're too passable. You can't even tell. If I stepped foot outside, you wouldn't know until I told you. So it's definitely hard. Like I see why a lot of the women in our community who are trans experienced speak more about their story to try to get a brief on how serious this life as who they are today. You have some trans women that got kicked out because they wanted to be a woman. You got trans women who's sitting in shelters right now as we speaking, who are doing sex work to get their money up, who are living with HIV to get their apartment. So as most, you're always gonna see a trans woman talk her shit. And you know what? I salute to them. I really do. I've dated a trans woman, and her story's sickening. It's sick to my damn stomach where she ain't got the love from both parents. And she ain't got the help. When you on your own, you on your own, and this shit hard. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm 21 years old, so I know. I'm out here busting my ass finding a job too. So not just the fact that trans women go through the struggles, but some of us trans men go through the struggles too. And that's why when I seen that question, it kind of gave me a lot because I'm surrounded all the time by trans women. I'm never surrounded by men. And if it is, it's this much. And that's the only like it's this much. I mean, I love to hear these trans women's stories because they're fucking inspirations, bro. Like you literally, and sometimes you can't even tell if that's a woman because some of them are passable. That's another thing too. Some of them, I think every trans woman is beautiful. The way how they look, their outcome, their steady, everything. You know, like who they are as an individual. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing. And I come across a lot of stories, and it broke me into tears. You know what I'm saying? It broke me into tears. Like, and this is why I go to these, you know, I'm on a panel. Actually, I'm on a panel on the 31st of, it's about medicine. It's about the medical though. But the panel that recently just passed last year, there was a majority of a lot of trans women there, more than the brothers. There wasn't a lot of brothers at all. And I'm just gonna be real with you on that. Because the women out here today, they talk they shit, bro. They talk. And I'm being serious. They talk. They gonna tell you how their life was ran. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and it's mostly, you know, the women who been transitioning since the 90s gonna say they shit. And it's very interesting. Like it really is. And I really salute to all them girls out there. Like real talk. I love all y'all trans women for real. So
Thank
it's
you.
mm-hmm.
And like, what do you want the world to know about trans males? Your perspective, who you are, and what you add your value to. community or society?
I mean, what I want the world to know about a trans male, just let us be. Stop sitting here trying to target us. Stop sitting here trying to think we're creatures. We're not. We're just individuals who are trying to live our truth, trying to get the goal going. We are people with ambition. We are people who have that strength to be out there just like everybody else. We we don't want to just be looked at as a fetish, a sex toy, as something you could just stick your thing in for once. We're not toys at a sex shop. We're human beings and we want to be loved inside and out. That goes for everyone, not just trans men. And I feel like the whole world needs to know that just because a person is transgender doesn't mean that we need to be targeted out, doesn't mean that we need to be killed, doesn't mean that we need to be discriminated at. Because I've been discriminated in everything for who I am. So we just want to be loved. We just want to be looked at as the way how you would be looked at with the biggest respect, the support, and the love. And we don't, most trans people like myself don't get that love and respect. You know what I'm saying? And I just want the whole wide world to just stop criticizing us trans people and just let us fucking be. Like, I can't hear
It's
you.
sad how people are treated for just being who they are, you know, just being who you are. So, Sedrick, where can the people find you or contact you if they want to reach you or ask you any questions?
You definitely contact me on Instagram. That is Sedrick, as SEDRIX.B at Instagram.
But thank you so much for this interview, Cedric. You have been an inspiration. And I want to say, even if you don't get the support from your family, your friends, I support you, brother. We support you in the chat.
Absolutely.
On you. Your beer game is on fleek. Your muscles on fleek. I'm going to have to exchange your number. We might have to, I support you. I thank you so much for this interview, brother. And I'm going to keep checking up on you. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Have a blessed one.
You too. And anything you want to say before we end?
I think one question you left out was sexual orientation.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to speak about that because a lot of times out of 10, that's actually something that's been confusing in the community as well. So I used to identify as straight, and you know, as many times, because ever since I came out, you know, as this trans male, I was identifying as a heterosexual man. Like I dated nothing but women. I never really had any intentions for a man, but I've had dated men before my transition. Yes. Like I said, they wanted my sister more. So it was like, oh damn, I'm all right. So, and it's fucking crazy now because I'm going to tell you like this. Ever since I transitioned to this men, the boys been at it, inboxing me like crazy.
I'm sure.
So not even just that, but at the times I would be like, men are really fucking pigs because I mean, when I'm not just disrespecting or nothing like that because I mean, it's, you know, people feel that way now because us trans men are getting fetishized. We're just sex fantasies. It's like when a guy finds out anyone is trans, like a man or a woman, oh, I want to try. I want to experience. I want to see what's up with that. Like, let me poke that hole real quick. Let me fuck that hole real quick. You know what I'm saying? And excuse my mouth, but it's the truth. That's just the community and everything. You do have a lot of sex fetishes I've been going, and that's been a lot. So I've been really afraid to just tell someone that I'm trans, or even jumping into something without being looked at as a sexual object. And that one thing I really wanted to talk about because that's happening a lot in this community. You don't even have to be trans. You could be a pretty ass femboy or a masculine, good looking dude and still be looked at as a fantasy to people. There's a lot of things going on in this community. Not everybody's taking a brief look and having a big ass eyes open, but the sex fantasy gotta stop. I'm too much of a human and I want to be loved inside and out. So knowing that at the times I would date females, ever since I transitioned, girls would be so questionable. Like, do you want this done? And you want that done? Do you want the bottom part done? Are you getting the bottom part done? If you do get a bottom part done, get it a bigger size. Like the size for me and everything. So I think the bottom surgery for me is actually not something I want. It's too much horror stories.
And I don't think you have to do it. Like even with TS, you just like you don't have to necessarily. People don't get it. When you feel this way, this is who I identify with. That's who I am. You
Yeah,
don't have
no,
to, you
I
know.
mean, it's not for everyone at all. And I feel like the bottom part is whenever you're ready and when you decide. But me personally, I don't. I'm very comfortable with my area. I mean, come on, I ask so many, and people ask me so many times, "You got a vagina?" I'll be real with you. Yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie, but come on, I've been asked by kids, everything. You wanna know? Yeah, my mom had a fucking girl. What you expect?
I'd be
But
like, pull it out. I want to see. I want to see.
yeah, like yeah, people expect. I remember I had a guy ask me, have you ever got your dick sucked? I said, "What dick?" That's so nasty. Like, and I just was the whole time conversating with the guy, he was looking at me as a fetish. I know he wanted just one thing, and he mentioned a couple of times I haven't got it in so long. But back to the sexual orientation anyway. So I've really never really had anyone really like masculine or any feminine come my way, but it was mostly feminine women. I dated nothing but women, never talked. And I realized at 17 years old, I knew that I had an attraction for everyone, including, other genders, other sexualities, but I was so afraid to come out. Nowadays, you can't really say what you want to say because you're either the topic or somebody's live and you're being talked negative. And I've been talked negative by trans men before as well. And, you know, I was dating a trans woman at the time, and it was mentioned, we was broadcasting our relationship. So I know I'm posting her as who she is to me, but I was like last year, and these dudes were just talking their shit about me, negative, and it's sad, but that's not the point. Um, I came out December 8th as pansexual because I knew that why is because I realized too, because I was like, why is a straight man talking to niggas? What, you know what I'm saying? Why is a straight man talking to dudes? You're not straight if you're talking to dudes. You're not. So
Exactly.
and everybody, and I was getting this question asked too, are you a DM? Or are you somebody that's on the low with it? Like, you giving me that vibe. I was people like the guys that were coming up to me, I'm getting that trade life from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I did not want to be a trade because I mean it took me a long time to be transgender. It took me a long time to be the person who I am today. So I would never hide anyone's child if they're gay, trans, or bisexual, or you're just a straight person. So you know what? I hid it for a very long time. I was like, I can't keep this in me no more. It was fucking with me. I felt very depressed. I would have a cute guy come my way, and I'd be like, he's mad cute. I don't want to lose him.
But is that hard? Like, do people accept you like in the dating process if you tell them that I'm transgender?
Ooh,
Is
I
that a problem?
like this conversation, but so that is another thing too. When the dating life for me actually sucks. Just many times I've spoken to women. I've spoken to a lot of women, and I've came out. I had got. I'm okay with the fact you're this, but I've known in their distancy with the communication, knowing that when I say that I'm trans, they're shocked and they're not, and they have this I'm not too sure look on their face. So I've been rejected plenty of times from people. I even have been told to my face, I don't I don't do fish. I don't
Wow.
do fish. I don't do fish and I don't do the plastic. And that was from cis women and gay men. And that it was a femboy. He was at a ball. And somebody, like I guess his friend was like, "Oh, he's cute. You can have him." He goes, I don't do fish." And I was like, "Why he's calling me fish?" And then then this guy was like, "Oh, because this is a little small ball that they had in Jersey City." And they was like, "Oh, because you was walking trans man realness, so he knows you got a vagina." He doesn't even know my tea.
Exactly.
He even judging somebody, and he was like, "Well, I don't do plastic either." And he was like this, "I don't do plastic either." Just like that. So I've been told that I've been rejected I've been rejected from people for 8 years. You know, I will talk to somebody and won't hear from them within like two days, 3 days, or even the weeks. And a lot of people love using that 9 to 5 as an excuse. Now, if you got a 9 to 5, it ain't nothing to lie about. It's just you not hitting me up because I look at consistency, communication, getting to how you gonna get to know me, not by not texting me, right? So the dating process for me, when I come out to somebody who's trans, I do feel like I'm gross to people. I do feel like I'm gross to people. I do feel like I fuck up their vibe from getting to know me because of me being a trans experienced person. And that happens all the time. And I speak about it on my Instagram because I want people to know that I'm a trans individual whose dating life is shitty and it's not really for like it's not the greatest. I actually was cursed out by a trans man talking about I'm weird, I'm an idiot. You always want somebody to give you the world and all your relations downfall. I don't. It's like two sides plays a story for you to even be judging. It's just some people have preferences. So I've had people distance themselves because that's just something I'm just something they're not into. Or I had people distance themselves because I wasn't giving them sex. And I'm just nothing but a sex object to people, especially the men. I've came across a lot of masculine men that want to just once they found that I was like trans, he got a vagina. He got a third hole. So I could go and fuck him and he's gonna be the female in the relationship. And they would really look at me as if I'm gonna be the female in the relationship because I have a vagina. No, I don't. I'm masculine just like yourself. So why would I sit there and let you bother me in this bed? And they feel like a trans man who has a piece, they can bottom. I'm just gonna put it out there. Not every trans man is a bottom, and not every trans man takes that part of yours. So the one thing about the difficulties that I do get in a relationship, yes, that's one of the difficulties I get in that relationship. Getting looked at as who I am today. And when I say I'm trans, I feel like I gross that person out. And I don't hear from them at all.
And I think you're a beautiful person inside and out. And I think with our community, people get roles wrong. Like sexuality regarding people is sexuality. Nobody has to be designated to do this or that. You might do a little bit of everything. So it doesn't have to be, well, you have these characteristics, you have to do this. Or, no, I don't agree with that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the one thing that this community really gets messed up is how could you be a trans man and date a man? What was the point of you transitioning? Now, your sexuality has nothing to do with the fact that you're transitioning because you can like whoever the fuck you like, and that's just your life. It's just that this community today want to put in a label and want to be generalized with certain things. Stop doing that. I mean, and that shit is really annoying because you can like what you like. That's like there's a guy who's trans and he's pregnant by a man, and
Mhm.
everybody's like, wait, that's a man. How can a man get pregnant? You don't know his teeth for you to even be judging. Before you even say shit and assume shit, why don't you ask questions? It'd be lovely. He's open to talking about it. You know, not people are very some people are private with their transition. I tend to be the one that's open. You can ask me any questions, but what one thing I'm not going to answer is some sexual questions because I do get discomfort.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like people love to ask the sexual questions before knowing me mentally and who I am as a human being. So that is another topic too, because I mean I want to bring this up because they see a lot of trans men that transition to men, but they tend to like sit there and fuck with men. So I never had anything serious with a man for even to me to even say, but I've seen it, you know, pride, an example. You see everything there. So you see a trans man dating another trans man and a man dating a trans man. I mean, I came across a lot of gays that said they would date a trans man, but at the time I would look at it like, I feel like you dating him for his looks. That was my mind back then, but I had to be educated on by a man who is trans that dated nothing but men. You know, you're going to have some type of people that's going to be attracted to your looks, but won't be attracted to you intimacy. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, you got to give yourself that experience on trying it out. And I didn't know that. I never tried it with a man before. And, you know, I'm open to it, like I said. Um, but the one thing about it is like people love to tend to judge on people's dating lives. And that shit pisses me off because
Yep.
why is you worrying about who he dating or who she dating? That's
Exactly.
another thing too. When a trans woman when a trans woman identifies as a lesbian, people got the nerve to say, well, what was the point of you transitioning to a woman?
Exactly. People don't get it. It's who I am, who I resemble, not, well, if
Right.
I transition, I have to date the op. No,
And there's another
it's
thing.
who I am.
Some people may and they say that they're saying this too. The testosterone is really changing y'all, or the estrogen is really changing y'all sexual preference. The medicine don't have nothing to do with the fact that you're changing your sexuality because you change that. Your mental, your mind changes that. If you want to try something brand new, go ahead, do you. This is life. We're all gonna die one day. Trust and believe that. But my thing is, you don't know if that's been their preference or they're now just figuring out their sexuality. So you have trans women who are transitioning to a woman now, but that been with a woman before.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stories on how trans women would date women was dating women before her whole process of being a woman now. And then when people see her, oh, she looks like she's passable too. She looks like a man, like she looks like a woman, and that's a woman. So wait, what was the whole purpose? But there's no reason for you to sit there and assume that she just did it because she's seen everybody else do it. Some
Yeah.
people just always had a preference in men or women or both or all. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that's been going on because somebody actually posted that on Facebook, and he's a trans man, and somebody came on his status and was like, y'all niggas confused and like y'all don't know what y'all want. Y'all know what y'all want to be. Da da da. It was calling him alien. So this community has some type of good side and bad sides. So I just tend to mind my business because I've made
Yeah.
my going out there by so many people. I've been violated and all, but it's just that this dating world for trans people can be very difficult. And I'm one of them who has difficult times letting people know what's up. You know, so I'm just around. I've been single for 8 years. So I never knew what a long-term relationship meant. I've been doing nothing but short terms. I really don't count those as relationships. I mean, yeah, those are people that I've came into terms with, but I don't believe in them. I never did. At the end of the day, I feel like whoever fits for you just fits for you. And I've realized that, and I've seen that at Pride. Like, you love who you love. And I mean, I noticed on December 8th was Pansexual Pride Day.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just fucking and say it, you know what I'm saying? So love who you love, sexuality. You shouldn't have to own nobody an explanation of who you love, you know what I'm saying? And I post up the flag. I was like, I'm pansexual. Like I you know, whoever fits for me just fits for me. And I see that person for the mentality and the personality. I like a person with ambition. If you don't have an ambition and you ain't doing things good in life for yourself, I'm not going to be attracted to you at all. Um, that's just the thing with the sexual orientation when it comes to us trans brothers. Like, I know a lot of gay trans men. And I mean, I know a lot of heterosexual trans men. I mean, I've been heterosexual. I just feel like when, as grown as who I am today, the women were just like, I even got questioned by women too. Like, are you even straight? Like, are you gay? Like, you know, you're around your friends, you pretend to feel feminine and shit like that. I'm a jokester. I like to play around, I like to joke around and things like that. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So yeah, like me personally, like I do a lot of things for the community because I am a barber and I am working on a web series. I'm doing big things for myself. So I really want to put myself out there more because I do a lot of volunteering work with organizations. They tend to ask me, can you do this? Can you do that? So I'm out here doing big things, but I would love to also become a security guard as well. That's what I'm working on now. So, I mean, I definitely wanted to just reminisce about the sexual orientation because I know some people are still scared to come out. And my advice to you is don't force yourself. Please don't. It's like, because then it's like if you force yourself, you're gonna be like, damn, I should never came out, da da da, and all that. be ready when you're on your own. I mean, it took me a long time. I've been pansexual since 17, but I never really said it. I wasn't scared of society. I was the generation today. We don't get respected. We get looked at as creatures. Even in the medical field, we get looked at as creatures. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the surgeries, and you got to do all this running around. And it's like that with dating too. If somebody likes then click on with you, somebody's turned off, or now people want you to be a certain way. You have to have this certain look. You have to have this certain you have to have tats, and you have to have your money up, your own shit. And if you ain't got that, nobody's ain't talking to you. You're just pushing in.
But it's ridiculous though. And like what you said, I just recently got on prep a couple months ago. And the doctor, I was trying to explain to them I want to get on prep, and they're like, basically, why? I'm just because I want to, and I'm part of the community, and you know, because of certain risk factors. So I'm like, they do look at you a certain way, like you know,
Yeah.
like or something.
I
Like,
mean, I was on prep. I had to get off of it because it was messing with my kidneys.
yeah.
It was messing with my kidneys, and I've had headaches. I had bloating in the abdominal area, and I had bloody stool. So
Oh,
yeah, no, I had to get off of it. And
yeah.
I'm not sexually active at all, so it's another reason why people should get on prep, because either you're sexually active or you're with somebody who's HIV.
Mhm.
But the only thing that they still tend to tell you to use is a condom, because it's not going to protect you from getting gonorrhea or STIs out there.
Exactly.
But I had to get off. I wanted to see what the big deal was, because it was on my television. Everybody's telling me you should do it. You'll get paid. You'll get a gift card. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm noticing that when I go take a shit, I'm bleeding at the same time.
Yeah.
And I told my doctor, he was like, you know, we have to do a blood work, right? I said, I had to get off of it. I'm sorry. My health is important. I need to live. And I'm not about to put my body into either more stress. My body was telling me, what else are you putting in my body, girl? My body telling me, what are you putting in my body? Like, for real. Because this
Yeah.
right here is a no. They're also coming out with some other thing called Discovery. It's like PrEP, but it's another name for it. But they have a lawsuit, supposedly. I went to the panel last year that I was in, and they actually have a lawsuit because they're saying that anyone who has a vagina cannot take this medication, which is
Oh, I
which
didn't
is
know that.
no, but they're working on having that, and they're also working on vaccination shots now. So, which is with the research of heart, Rutgers research of heart, something like that. They were posting at something like that, and there was a doctor. She was explaining how they have a lawsuit on because that is some type of discrimination. Nobody should
Mhm.
never be pushed away and can't take a certain medication because of what's in their pants. So they're actually dealing with a law that company and everything. But it's a 1 day appeal, like Truvada. So, but yeah, no, I had to get off of it. I mean,
I hope so because I'm terrified of getting like I'm not even sexually active, but I'm terrified of getting an STI. I'm just like just terrified because you can't trust people, you know?
no, you really can't. And I mean, a lot of the people, the dudes that come my way and the women that come my way, because I had a guy come my way. He was like literally addicted to me, like he wanted to buy me shit, but he looked like a whole bunny. I'm sorry. And I mean, now no disrespect, but I mean, you talking out your ass like you got this type of money and shit. So, um, I mean, he was like a week ago before he even came out that he liked me, whatever. He was like, I really want something with you, but you just told me like a few days ago that you sex with mad people of Grinder. So
Hmm.
now I know about that site because I have a best friend who's gay,
Yeah.
and he was just like, "Oh, but I'm gonna stop my shit for you. You're not gonna stop. You're a man. You fuck anything."
Exactly. Those hormones are raging. You just
Just to make me mad, and I told him, I said, "You do what you want to do. You're not mine. I don't like you like that. I don't see you like that." And he cried. He had like tears in his eyes because I said I don't see you like that. But you have to respect people's decisions. And it's
Yep.
like when you say that to somebody, you getting cursed out by somebody. You getting told this, that, and the third. No, he cried. I don't care.
And it's their choice. You can't get mad at a person because that's their choice. They could like you can't get mad because that's their decision.
I
People
mean,
do though.
I mean, the love is always here for you guys. I love y'all. Y'all make everything popping. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Especially at the balls too. Y'all make it popping. Even at small events, y'all make it popping. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love to be around y'all more than I want to say masculine men. They give me it's too toxic. Number one, but I'm a masculine man. But I support everybody and their moms. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I would love to just sit around a bunch of gays and ask y'all so much questions, but I don't want to seem like I'm into y'all business and everything. You know what I'm saying? And the majority, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, like the questions that you ask me are mostly from the gay community. It's not from the women. It's kind of rare when a woman asks me these questions that you ask me. It's kind of
Mhm.
rare that another trans person is asking me. It's always the males that identify as gay that ask me these questions, and I don't mind. But now I tend to back away a little bit because sometimes they tend to be a little fetish with the words they say.
Mhm.
So, and it's making the good ones look bad. And I just tend
Yeah.
to fuck up real quick because I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Like I had a guy hard and everything from even explaining my transition.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you're hard for even how are you hard? I just told you that I've been doing this for a very long time. You got very hard. I'm like, you know what? Let me stop my shit. Stop. Because I'm gonna only make this nigga come on himself. And nah, child, I'm not even gonna hold you. It's just that today's society, to me, I just feel like the one thing that really needs to be worked on is the medical field. I mean, I've dealt with like the process of just seeing surgeons because I actually been diagnosed with ovarian cysts, so I can't have kids. And
Mhm.
I was told that by my primary care who did an ultrasound. Now they have an ultrasound where they stick it up in you, but I couldn't have that sticked up in me because
Mhm.
so they didn't want to break the virginity. So we had to do one in the pelvic area, and they found cysts around my ovaries. And he told me that was kind of bad. So that was another issue too. The kid situation, yes. Um, People want a kid and they want a family. They want this dream family and everything, but 9 times out of 10, some people can't even give somebody a kid. I mean, there's other ways to give somebody a kid now. Like you have the IVF and the surrogate. Well, I don't have money for that. And the surrogate is a process. Like I heard you have to go to court.
It's a lot, and it's expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Expensive.
No, it's like New York. They have like supposedly
Mhm.
that the insurance covers it and shit like that.
Mhm.
It's like New York is everything. When am I ever live over there? You know what I'm saying? Like I can't live there. Everybody like, hey, you need to just use my address and get the fucking insurance because you're gonna love it. I said, I'm gonna love the insurance over there. I wish the insurance in New Jersey was like that. They want to fight with
Exactly.
me. In New York, a Medicare, I could say that's the best insurance ever because I'm gonna tell you,
Exactly.
they paid for my a person who I used to date. They paid for her vaginal plastic. They paid for almost everything. Medicare is amazing. They pay for everything. There's even a surgery where you can get your voice modified. Yes, right.
Wow.
It's called voice modification surgery, but don't nobody really go for that unless you're literally having a dysphoria in your voice. Like you have trans women, and it's kind of rare that they get it. But you have trans
Mhm.
women. I came across one that was in a look for it and to getting it. I don't know if she did it, but she's definitely trying to get the process. I don't know if she's still in the process. I haven't spoken to her, but she was in the process. She said she was getting her facial fem and then she was getting her voice change. I said, wait, what? I said, voice change. She goes, yes.
Wow.
I said, I didn't know that. I found that out in 2018 that they do voice modification surgeries. But then I had to research it online and I was like, and then actually trans women are still doing it. But there was a little bit of trans women that were doing it, and the trans women that were doing it, the recovery is ridiculous. You can't speak for a week, and then
Wow.
speak for a
I
week.
didn't know that.
You have to take vocal sessions. Um,
That's
you
insane.
have to do a lot. Like I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I'm like, what? How can you eat? So they can't eat chunky, like crunchy shit and shit like that. They have to
Mhm.
get food to soothe in their throat and everything. It's just a process. And I was like, I wanted to do it because I wanted my voice to be more deep. Now they do that.
See, I thought for transgender males, like taking the testosterone would increase,
Oh
the
yeah,
hair, your voice.
it deepens the voice to its natural deepest. But some people feel like their voice hasn't deepened enough as long as they've been on the testosterone affects every man differently. It does. It affects us differently. So you may have dudes who have the fucking deepest voice ever that I've ever heard. I mean, no gay shit, but come on, like the voice. This is the voice. No gay shit. I'm not gonna hold you, but the voices that I've heard from the men that passed my way are very deep. Like they were just deeper than mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yes, it could get that deep. But some trans men have that still pitch in their voice and would want that surgery, of course. But 9 times out of 10, most majority, it's kind of rare that you hear a trans man getting a voice surgery because they love their voice. I mean, I love my voice. Don't get me wrong. Like my shit is still cracking. I'm
No,
only
you sound good.
my shit is I'm 3 years and 5 months on the hormones. I mean, and I'm still trying to work on this body as well. So I mean, the one thing that the voice for trans women is kind of like they get cockable, and
Mhm.
it's sad because they don't get, they get called a man from just speaking, or other than that, like that voice surgery is just something that I wouldn't do because it is complications and it's not fucking with my vocal box. It's not fucking with my throat. Anything could go wrong. And I don't want to be Jonah Rivers because she died from a throat surgery.
Yeah.
Um, that right there scared the shit out of me because when I was looking at the fact that she had a throat surgery because I guess she had like some cancer in her throat, something like that. I'm not too sure.
That's crazy.
And in the way how she was talking, so I guess she was going for a voice surgery or something like that because she would talk a little hoarse and shit like that. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking, okay, just looking at her going through this and how she died under the table, I guess when I was reading up her death from them doing a throat surgery, they had, I guess she was underneath anesthesia too long, and you can die like that. So I was scared. I'm like, oh no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. I'm going to leave it where it's at because that is too scary. That's scary.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and seeing the videos of the trans women that did it, they I really salute to them because
I'm
that
gonna look that up. I'm gonna look.
yeah, no, it's a real surgery, and um I salute to them. I salute to all the trans women. I feel like the trans women gotta go do more surgeries than us trans men
Mhm.
because they have the testosterone. They had some of them don't have testosterone anymore because they had the castration or vaginoplasty. So
Mhm.
they have the features that we are trying to get that they're trying to get what we used to have. So it's just a roller coaster and just to be who you are today. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lovely roller coaster. I can't say it's a bad one. Some people, we all go through the roughs and oops and nooms and shit to get to the good. Especially with these doctors, they need to be more educated because like gynecologists is once they see a trans man step foot up in there and they go and they do pap smears and everything, it's like we're a damn science project to them. And then it's like when I was trying to go for my hysterectomy, I was supposed to have my hysterectomy surgery on the 3rd. I was told because me having GAD, which is an anxiety disorder, so it just come
Mhm.
out of it. I had to bluntly be told to see that I had to go see an endocrinologist and a psychologist because of the bleeding that kept happening and my anxiety. So I couldn't get the surgery.
Yeah.
The surgeon's way of saying I'm not doing the surgery because I'm scared. I don't want to do the surgery. That was another way of her saying it. She's making a lot of people do this running around. I really don't want to say her name because but it's on my page, and I spoke to her about going to see her. I mean, she's a wonderful surgeon. Don't get me wrong. You've been doing this for 2 years, but how wonderful can you be if you're only making trans people do the running around just for one specific surgery? I mean,
Exactly.
you work with my top surgeon when he does phalloplasty. So for you to say that you do these surgeries all the time, what's the problem of doing mine since you do all these surgeries? If you really took the time to understand, now
Mhm.
that I have ovarian cysts, but she didn't know that I have ovarian cysts. I can't do a lot of shit. I get this pain on both sides. They're like shooting pains. And even when I work out, I can't have a great workout without them motherfuckers going insane. So the pain is not, it's not a joke at all. And when you're describing why you want this to a surgeon, because the way how she was talking to me was like how my mom would talk to me, like,
Mhm.
oh, what was she saying? She said, what is the real reason why you want this surgery, and why do you need this surgery? um you have a whole life ahead of you. And this
Wow.
is the OGBYN talking to me like if my fucking mom was talking to me. And she's like, you really don't need it.
You
It's
didn't
other,
want to do it anyway.
no. And this, I'm gonna tell you what my primary care said. And she was like, um, I just feel like you have a life ahead of you right now. You're very young. I mean, people are 18 that are getting surgery, but what is exactly the reason why you need this surgery? I said, it's because I don't see myself as a parent anymore. I wanted twins, but unfortunately, now I got ovarian cysts. I can't have kids. They're bad. So, and she's like, could we do, is there another way that we can do the surgery? Is there another way we can treat without doing surgery? I said, I want surgery. I'm not taking no more meds. I'm done stressing out my body. It's too much.
Mhm.
So she was like, well, I want you to go see our endocrinologist specialist. I said, I'm not seeing no endocrinologist or psychiatrist just for some fucking bleeding and some for my anxiety that comes once when it feels like it. That's the whole purpose of GAD. So it just unexpectedly comes. And she wanted me to update my letters. I said, you should have told me this literally before you got in this room to tell me more shit. Because
Mhm.
I only wanted my uterus removed because that's what causes the bleeding. That's what happens. The uterus lining tends to shed with the eggs that is shedded with the old things like that. The
Mhm.
lining of the uterus. So I just wanted that. That's just what happened. You know, I get the discharge, I get the bleeding. Ask me. Um, and she pretty much was just like, there's other ways to prevent the bleeding. She didn't
Wow.
do it. She's like, there's so many changes now because you have a new diagnosis and now you just want everything out instead of your ovaries. But
Yeah.
now that my ovaries have these cysts, I have to remove everything. And that's going to give me instant menopause symptoms, which
Yeah.
is kind of scary because I came in conclusions with dudes who had a hysterectomy with heat flashes. Actually, my brother in Manhattan just had his done in December, and he's
Mhm.
major heat sweats and um, small symptoms of menopause. And I asked her because I heard another trans brother of mine talk about how he had nosebleeds, throw ups, crazy sweats, excessive weight gain.
Mhm.
And I asked her, I was like, is that true symptoms? I'm talking to a professional because I'm not, because I mean, I looked on Google and they gave me the same and how people would get high blood pressure from the hysterectomy. So I really want to know. And she
Yeah.
told me some of the stuff can happen, but improves over time. So
Mhm.
I said, okay, well, I just want my ovaries to keep in because I don't want to deal with the menopause symptoms. I just want something to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Medication don't do it. And it's like when medication don't do it, medication just stresses you the fuck out. It
Exactly.
doesn't do nothing for you. And they feel like if I'm going to an endocrinologist, she's gonna put me on birth control. So she's like,
Exactly.
and
Especially for the bleeding, you
yeah,
know?
but birth control pretty much does the opposite and it tricks the mind. It tricks the uterus, I believe. So
Mhm.
when I brought the situation to my primary care, because like I said, he's well smart. I don't even need to go to orthopedic if my shoulder wasn't damaged, because he's smart like that.
Yeah, yeah.
He pretty much. I told him about the situation. I said I went to see about the hysterectomy, and she just kept giving me the runaround. So he was like, "Oh, what was that about? Talk to me." So I'm like, "Okay." I went and she came in the room because I guess they sent a little doctor that helps with them. And I told her that I just don't want to really feel the menopause symptoms. I just want to keep ovaries in and remove out the uterus and the fallopian tubes. I really don't need it. I don't see myself as a parent. So that's when the actual doctor came and she gonna question me like my mother. He was like, that was bad of her putting her own opinions into your decision. And that as a doctor saying this, that's not cool because any doctor that does these trans surgeries wouldn't have you doing a run around it.
Yeah.
She just not wrapped around trans people and she's only been doing it for 2 years. No, you need someone who's been experiencing this for way too
Exactly.
long. And
Exactly.
and for her to say that to you, that's just messed up. That is a bunch of bullshit, and you do not need an endocrinologist because they only take my patients with
Exactly.
with these crazy ass advice and this, that, and the third. And I said, yeah, she's gonna put me on birth control. He goes, you can't be on birth control and testosterone at the same time. They play. One plays the opposite.
Actual bleeding
So,
person, they want to do birth control.
yeah, they play the opposite. So he's like, you don't want to take estrogen, you want to take testosterone. So there's no point if you take the birth control, and you don't need it, and you don't need an endocrinologist. So what he suggests, he's like, in your anxiety doesn't have anything to do with the fact that
Hmm.
you're an hysterectomy, because to her knowledge was it has a lot to do with it, and
Hmm.
it's complications. So I said it's complications with every surgery. So I never had an anxiety attack from the top surgery at all. So he was saying, yeah, she's choosing that to not do it, and he put me on with um, a OGBYN that's newly taking patients, and she's in Jersey City, but she's not. She's taking new patients, but she's booked for the February of this month, like fully booked. So
Hmm.
he's like, I want you to go and see her because, but first, I want you to still see her, but I want to do some investigation as well. So I want to see we look at your testosterone levels. We want them to be at the correct, but we also look at other things too, like the hemoglobin and everything, because when you take testosterone, your hemoglobin does increase. And
Hmm.
it was looking at, we look at the functions of your liver and kidney. You're
Yep.
not that. So he was like, let's do a little investigation. And he was like, if that doesn't, if the, because he dosed me up too. So he's like, let's dose up the increase of zero point 0.5. Let's see if the bleeding tends to keep happening because your ovaries are not so
Yep.
suppressed. So that's why the bleeding is continuing. It's most likely dudes who get on testosterone, you get a big ass dose. The dose could be like 3 ml or 1 ml, depending on how your body and your height and your
Mhm.
weight. That's how they get a dosage. And the thing with my doctor, he was like, if we can't get in touch with any OGBYN that specializes in trans people, I could try to put you on how do you say progesterone, something like that. That
Mhm.
as we naturally have it, but to prevent the bleeding, that tricks the body of saying you're pregnant. So that causes the bleeding to stop. And he was saying if the 4 shots or the dosage that I gave you does not do anything, we can try that. But I know that that's something that you don't want to do either. It's not going to harm you. It's not going to kill you
Yeah.
because it is not. We have that already in our body. This is they have the extra, and then the shot. We have to do the shot. The shot. Boom. So that's the one thing about it. Like, I mean, the medication. I mean, I said, Doc, if I gotta wait to see her, then I gotta wait to see her because I'm not taking no medication.
Yeah. Understand. I understand that.
Because it do so much, and then but he's not big on medication too. Like when he diagnosed me with GAD, he didn't
Mhm.
want to prescribe me medical marijuana because the THC in the medical marijuana has the stuff that stimulates anxieties from coming. It stimulates like I think one of the chemicals, and the chemical THC and the weed
Mhm.
prevents those symptoms from happening. So he was like, I wouldn't mind taking CBD or anything else that you try to do is fine. So I take valerian root because it calms that bitch down. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's the truth. I mean, I never had an anxiety attack before. I think the very first time having one was when I took my first shot, and it put me in the hospital. I didn't know how to control it.
Wow.
And I had to control it. I said, you know what? I'm feeling weird. My stomach was in knots. I felt like I don't know if I felt like I was throwing up. Like I wasn't throwing up or nothing. I went to the store, got me some ginger ale, felt so weird, felt my breathing being shortened, my chest was tightening, my head was hurting. I was scared. I guess it was because my body was responding to testosterone and was like, what did you just put in my body? So I got an anxiety attack. You know, everybody's body's going to react to the medication different. Some people haven't had any, you know, anything. Haven't had anything going on the first shot, but my first shot led me into the hospital. It definitely has something to do with the fact of it's being new in my body and never been. It's not used to it. I just, you know, this whole transformation is just beautiful and I love it. And I've been doing a lot with it. I mean, top surgery, the experience with that.
Mm-hmm.
Got it done with Dr. Jonathan Keefe, New Jersey, Livingston, wonderful surgeon. Took the time to actually hear me out. I went through 5 different surgeons to actually see him. And when I seen him, he actually took the time to listen to my story. I've been pushed away by surgeons saying, well, I was born with breast cellulitis, so it was one breast and one big breast, and I was born with that shit. So he looked at it, you know, and gave me my beautiful chest, and I told him that I've been rejected by so many surgeons. I even
Mm-hmm.
a psychologist letter lost at a surgeon's office. So I mean, I just feel like the medical field needs more training when it comes to people like us,
They
and
sure do.
they do. And it's like I've heard so many stories. Like one of my brothers, he pretty much had phallus done, and he don't even have his phallus today because the doctor clipped the artery too short, and his like the recovery is sickening. Like I feel bad for him, the pain that he got to deal with for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He has chronic pain and shit, and yeah, he has like a lot of chronic pain. The surgeon um, that he went to, I don't feel as anybody should go to either because he don't
Mm-hmm.
have balance to this day. Um, and it's which is sad, but at the end of the day, like I mean, at least he's still living, at least he's still alive. I mean, he almost died a couple of times, and he's still here. So, I mean, God was right there, and all we could do was pray for this man today. You know what I'm saying? All we could do is pray. I mean, like I said, the surgeries when it comes to an individual like myself, you have to have the balls. You have to be ready mentally for it. If you're not ready mentally for it, then the surgery is not for you yet.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a tool, like going from another to another. It's a process, and it's going to be a very tough process too, because you're going to lose respect or support from others who ain't going to respect you. You are going to be in a lot of negative vibes from either workspaces and things like that. And I've heard a lot of stories about dudes who to sit there and got discriminated at their jobs, including myself. So it's a tough world for us. And I want the world to know that we are not creatures and we are not trying to harm you guys. We are
Exactly.
minding our fucking business and doing what we have to do for ourselves and
Exactly.
our needs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people tend to
And I
still
want to say exactly. And I don't want to keep you too long, Cedric. I want to say thank you. I appreciate you, brother. And as far as dating, you're gonna find that special one. You still young. You only 21. You still a baby. It
no,
will come. Give it time. And if they don't want you for you,
hey,
then they don't want you at all. But don't
that's
don't
right.
rush it. Don't rush it. Believe me. But
Absolutely.
thank you for your support, people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cedric.
Love
Brother,
it.
we support you. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.